Oh, Stewie! Here's Stewie.
Yeah, we just thought the Independent's taking over the community calendar. Who's doing it for the rest of the season?
I think Maggie Richardson, I believe, is gonna.
Okay.
People enjoy listening to her more than me, anyway.
No, I really enjoyed listening to you. I really enjoyed listening to you. Okay, I'm going to read a headline from the Toronto Star today. Protest across U.S., Canada over Trump's migrant policy. Now, what was the headline of the Independent this week?
Well, this week we had a big feature on, again, celebrating the fact that Canada and St. Mary's is made up of great people from all over the world that we've welcomed into the community.
Now, what would you rather hear, right?
Absolutely.
Good news. We have good news in St. Mary's. So, how long have you owned the Independent?
This June 1st was 4 years already.
And what made you buy it?
Yeah, that's interesting. I started up a website company a few years ago, and I got to do the websites for a number of businesses in town, and I thought, this is going to lead somewhere interesting. And out of that, I ended up buying a fitness studio and a newspaper. I got to know Frank Doyle fairly well, who started the Independent 18 years ago. And I got to see what was involved, and I thought, boy, wouldn't it be amazing to own a newspaper in St. Mary's?
And have you had fun with it?
Oh, it's been incredible. Every week's different.
Yeah. And what experience did you have in the media prior to that?
I just had a lifelong love of newspapers. Even out on the farm, we always had a lot of newspapers around, the Journal Argus and the London Free Press. The Journal Argus did give me a chance to write my first article. In 2005, I contacted the Journal and asked if I could do an article on the World Crokinole Championships. So they were nice enough to put that in for me.
Oh, fantastic. Do you actually play crokinole?
Oh, yeah. My grandfather taught me years ago.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I played it quite a bit too. Now, what do you see the role of the Independent in the town?
I think community newspapers in general are so important to community building. Facebook obviously is a great tool, but it can only take you so far. You've got to have a reliable source of information in town. We're there to help spread the word about community events that are going on, whether it's charitable or otherwise. We're here for small businesses that want to advertise their products. So I think I can't imagine a small town like ours without a newspaper.
Great. Well, featuring that on November 27, 1917.
2017.
2017, thank you. 1917, yes.
Way to go, Johnny!
I think you're thinking of the merger of the Journal and the Argus.
Maybe the Journal Argus, anyways, closed with no notice. And what was your first thought when that happened?
I think just like everybody, it was shock and sadness were the immediate emotions there. And I know everybody that worked there, and that it was real tough, especially the history of 164 years. Once those emotions came, I guess the next was just to try to see what would be the best thing to do for the community. And what we tried to do is bring the two papers together, in a sense, kind of treat it as if a merger, even though it wasn't one, and bring in a lot of the great things in the Journal into our paper. We had intentionally not done certain things in the Independent. We never had a sports section because out of respect for the incredible job Pat Payton does. We didn't get into a lot of the history, for example, because Mary Smith was doing an amazing column every week. So just things like that. It was great to bring into the Independent and make it the best we could make it.
Yeah, and you certainly risen to the challenge.
Thanks.
Yeah, and certainly you had a great staff to start with too. So you just built on that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of great people in the town, a lot of talent, and it's been last 6 months to have all the different people write for us now. It's so much more diverse, and it's been really great.
Now, running a small town newspaper can be difficult at times, right? And unlike a big city where you can sort of hide from all your readers, everybody knows who you are. So how do you deal with that, especially when somebody might not be too pleased when they read something in your newspaper?
Yeah, that's definitely the hardest part, is whenever there's controversy. Like, I'd be happy if it was sunshine and rainbows every week and there was never anything contentious, but we do have things that come up from time to time. For example, we had the public meetings recently with the cement plant and the St. Mary's for Clean Air group. And what I tried to do in the newspaper is bring all sides of it into it. I think there was one day when we had a letter to the editor from the Clean Air Group, and we also had a message from the cement plant and also the Ministry of Environment. That's the best I can do, is just to try to present all sides.
Mm-hmm. Now, recently, an office supply business in town closed down, and you swooped in again like Superman and are doing something.
Well, you know, we shop there all the time. The status quo was wonderful because we were there 3 times a week getting various items at Office Solutions. I got to know Maggie Richardson, and she's amazing. She was working for us 1 day a week, helping us with the newspaper. So when it closed, I thought, well, first of all, what am I going to do? I don't want to have to go to Stratford. Secondly, I've got this amazing person here with Maggie Richardson. She's out of a job all of a sudden, so what can we do to bring her in? And then from a financial standpoint, we're already paying our rent at the Independent, so if we shift a few things around, clean up a little bit, we can bring in the office supplies and make the best go out of it. And fourthly, it's just fun for me. I love this sort of thing.
You know, you have an online version, and that was really helpful when I lived in Saudi Arabia to see what was happening in St. Mary's. And it's delivered in a town for free, which is great. What changes do you see in the future, though? Because paper journalism is really, in some places, going by the wayside. Some of the big newspapers are not paper anymore; they're all online.
Right. Well, the problem that so many of them face is that traditional model of charging each week. It just doesn't seem to work as well as it used to because of the changing demographics. I think our business model with delivering it for free, and for our advertisers, they know that everybody in town's reading it. It's a model that works, and that's why we've been successful. But one change I do want to mention is that in 2 weeks' time, the newspaper is going to be full color, all 32 pages.
Wow.
We're really excited about that.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. Any other new things that we need to know about? Do you have plans in the future?
I think that's
any secrets you can tell?
I think you're right up to speed.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, well, thanks for dropping in,
Thanks a
Stewart.
lot, John. Appreciate it.
Okay.